Okay, in this video, we're going to review The Quality of Mercy after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. Interesting episode here in which we have, for the first time, a real look at Lanier, played by Bill Mumy, and also June Lockhart is one of the guest stars. Now, if you have any knowledge of Lost in Space, June Lockhart was Maureen Robinson on Lost in Space, the original TV show, and Bill Mumy was Will Robinson. So they played mother and son. Now, they didn't have any scenes together in this particular episode, but it was interesting that they were both the main characters of everything that was driving the plot. And in the case of June Lockhart, she plays a doctor. It's not the first time that she's ever played a doctor on TV, but she has some kind of machine that has good healing qualities. And without going into any detail on that, there is one point where she says that she could live another 20 or 30 years. And what's interesting is that it's almost exactly 30 years after that episode was made, and she's still living. She's 98 years old and still acting, as a matter of fact. Bill Mumy, of course, who plays Lanier, the aide to the Minbaran ambassador, is being taken by Londo to basically, well, on the surface of it, Londo says this is for you to be able to experience more of getting to know the other aliens and inhabitants of Babylon 5, when really what he wants to do is to have Lanier pay his way through the strip club and the casino. And, of course, trouble happens, and by the end of it, Lanier lets Londo off the hook completely and leaves him completely confused about it. And he says they're strange people, but they're okay. Interesting background on Bill Mumy. He had been, most people remember him as Will Robinson from Lost in Space, but he had been acting from childhood and is still acting. He is in 2 projects right now that haven't been released. But in addition to doing that and Lanier on Babylon 5, he was in an episode of Deep Space Nine in the last season. He was also in just about every 60s television show, early 60s and late 50s television show you could think of, including the Jack Benny Show and Wagon Train and you name it. Several episodes of the original Twilight Zone, and in the revival of Twilight Zone, he was in one of those. So he's been a very prolific actor over his career. He's now 69 himself. Well, the character of Lanier is one who has he's part of the religious caste of the Minbaris. And so he's put into this, brought up in a monastery until he goes to Babylon 5. So he is almost completely an innocent, but they find out that he's an expert on statistics and calculating odds. And Londo sees an opportunity to make a lot of money at a poker table. And so that brings him in, and it's kind of an old joke about the innocent that can go in and play poker and without even really knowing how the game is played, wins everybody's chips. And of course it leads into a big fight. And so that's no different here, and handled fairly well. I think that it's an entertaining show. The B plot, which is of a murderer that has to be scanned by the telepath before a sentence of mind wipe goes in, is one of somewhat of a trauma for the telepath, because going into the mind of a murderer is a very stressful thing. And how that resolves itself is interesting in this episode as well. Anyway, we highly recommend it. Babylon 5, The Quality of Mercy. Now, I wanted to remind you that we have we're going to be taking a week off. It's Christmas week, so between Christmas and New Year's, we're not going to release any new videos except for the review of the Doctor Who Christmas special, The House on Ruby Road. We'll have a review of that the day after Christmas, Boxing Day if you're in Britain, and then we will be back with our regular schedule of videos beginning after the first of the year. So thank you for a good year for us, and we hope that you will join us into the next one. Until then, don't go far.